carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for tonight's Newcastle United 4, Crystal Palace 0 match review. Fantastic results, fantastic performance. It's onwards and upwards for the Toon Army, no doubt about that. Please do give it the thumbs up if you do enjoy tonight's show. Spending your Sunday night with us, thank you very, very much for that. And if you're new and you like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button, free to do so, and that notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule these live shows or we upload any videos which are pre-recorded, of course. You can donate to the channel as usual tonight by hitting the $sign at the bottom of the live comments. And, of course, that will get your comment read straight out as well as helping the channel. And you can become a member by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us. And that puts you in for prize draws, etc., and members' perks. Thank you very much to Billy and Alex for doing the immediate reaction podcast last night over on our Patreon page. If you're not a patron yet, head over there. The link is in the description. Just scroll down. It is near the bottom, I believe. But if you go and subscribe to be a patron, you will get extra content from the Toon review, such as the Legend podcasts, which Billy and Tom do. Obviously, immediate reactions, Champions League stuff. A lot of content that we don't put on camera. So it's just that extra little bit for you to listen to with the Toon review. Fellas, are we in a good state of mind after that performance yesterday?
Indeed.
How could you not be?
Indeed.
It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Alex, I'll ask you, do you think Murphy meant that first one?
No, I mean, he said he didn't. So I'll take his word for it.
Yeah. I mean, it did look, I mean, we said on the commentary, Billy, didn't we? It looked originally where he was trying to play it towards the back post, and it just seemed to slice. I mean, the goalkeeper, I think once it was over his head, he knew it was going in the net. He was a beaten man. How that line's been flagged for offside, I'll never know. I mean,
they're not supposed to, are they? They're supposed to wait. If there's anything close, VAR sorts it out for them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Spurs of the week has kind of made them think, Christ, they might not get it right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't offside. It was a tight one, but it wasn't offside. I think Murphy was kind of aiming for Wilson at the back post, but if it kind of that kind of area, if it went in, it went in. But he didn't mean, did he?
Now, of course, the end of the match has taken a lot of the headlines, shall we say, with obviously when they went for the lap of honour to applaud the crowd, they pushed Sandro Tonali to the front, and he seemed to get an incredible ovation from the Newcastle fans that were still in the ground. For me, he looked very subdued, very forlorn, as if he has the weight of the world on his shoulders right now. But there was a lovely picture on social media that they're doing the rounds, of course, with Trippier with his arm around him, the two of them. It was a very symbolic picture, I think. Alex, what do you make of that?
Yeah, it's important. How we deal with this situation now is important. You get a lot of, especially when you start to talk about superstars. I understand that we do try and go for the right character, a player with the right mentality. However, we are going to go for superstars, and for them picking between certain clubs, this is a good example for them when they're choosing who they're going to choose, like who they're actually going to sign for, who they want to play for. They know they're going to be supported regardless of the situation. I don't want to be rude about other clubs because it's not necessarily the club's fault based on regions and things that get affected. But you had a lot of issues with Manchester United players. You get a lot of issues with PSG players with burglaries and stuff. Now that's not the city's fault. It's not the club's fault. It's obviously just criminals who are doing criminal things. It's nobody's fault. But you get a lot of dodgy things happen, but people know if they come to our club. They get the full support of the fans, of the manager is backing people, the club is backing people, just everyone, regardless of whether, there's a lot of people in the fan base who don't think Tonali's done particularly well since he's come in. He's not done amazing. I don't think he's done bad, but he's not done amazing so far. I think he will do. So for everybody still to just be like, no, we'll back him. Doesn't matter. He's one of us. It's great. So and it helps. It helps in the future for us for getting new players as well. It's just it's very, very good.
Steve Mallam, thank you for being a member for 15 months. Keep your ongoing support. That's incredible. Thank you. If Murphy didn't mean it, it was still a brilliant cross. It would have been on a plate for Wilson. Absolutely. Now, Billy, I'm hearing a lot of people saying in the chat tonight that, and on various reports and social media, that the crowd was very quiet yesterday. That a lot of people seem to have left by full time, which is a very half empty stadium at full time. I'm not sure why that is. It for me, a performance like that, especially in the first half, I would imagine that the stadium would have been rocking. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but it seems very strange.
I've seen a few reports from Crystal Palace fans. However, I'll take that with a pinch of salt because they believe they're the best fans in the country, despite only bringing a minibus full up every year. They're not happy with our displays, their warfares. I've seen a lot of that going on social media, mainly from Crystal Palace fans. And after 70 minutes, the game did go a bit flat, let's be honest, when we brought the substitutes on. We weren't pushing really the last 20 minutes or so. But it didn't seem to me like the people had left. It looked like Sandro and the rest of the squad were getting a massive clap as they went around the stadium, and the cheering of Sandro, Tonali, eat spaghetti, drink spaghetti, all that stuff was going pretty loud as what I saw on other YouTube channels last night, which was put up. So it didn't seem that flat to me. I've got to be honest. I think it's generally just jealous Crystal Palace fans, to be honest.
Well, look, they put that they had that banner, didn't there, as well, which is pathetic, really, because as some Newcastle fans replied to them on social media, putting a photo of when we played down there, they're advertising Saudi businesses across the advertising boards.
Well, so nobody knows who their owners actually are.
Well, absolutely.
However, one of the shareholders was loaned money from a company, Blackstone, who are funded by BIF.
So when we played at Selhurst Park last year, their ground sponsors were Saudi Egyptian developers. Got the screenshot of it.
Yeah. So there you go. Very hypocritical Palace fans. I think you need to have a word with yourselves. But never mind. Anyway, Anthony Gordon came back yesterday, Alex, and me and Billy did make a comment sort of 20 minutes in that he had been a little bit quiet, but he did then sort of come into the game. He has been, no football for 2.5 weeks. He's about to take time to get going. But again, once he did, he missed that real sitter hitting the bar. But we said this at half time. He didn't let that get to him at all. He just continued going and eventually got his goal, which was a beautifully worked goal.
Yeah. So for anybody who's obviously a patron, they'll have heard mine and Billy's conversation about this last night. In that, I don't think he was quiet. I think the focus was different on, specifically of what we were trying to do and how we were trying to break Palace down.
Yeah, we went down their left-hand side most of the time, didn't we?
Well, we went down, yeah. So we started on our left and then progressed it over to so Gordon was part of quite a lot of 1-2 passing sequences to then create a bit of space to then drag it over to the right-hand side, in which Murphy, Longstaff and Trippier were doing that kind of stuff on the right wing. So it was an important role. It was a different kind of game and a different kind of role for him because the emphasis was on the opposite side. He wasn't sort of running in behind into space. He was having to contribute to the way we were trying to play against this team. And then he was doing the right things, like arriving late at the box, making sure he was available at the back post, and he got a goal for his persistence. And it was a nice, mature different kind of game from Gordon. It's good he's got different sort of strings to his bow.
Yep. Ian Fleming, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. He says, hi guys, great result yesterday, and do you think Dortmund will be worried? Well, judging by the way Dortmund played on Friday night, I think they will be. They don't look anything special. Billy, you mentioned that yesterday. But again, it's Champions League. I think, certainly league form disappears because the Champions League is a very, very special event, as we know. And, listen, St. James's will be rocking on Wednesday night again. There's no doubt about that. There'll be a much bigger display from War Flags, of course, because of the weather. They couldn't really do one yesterday. But it's going to be a completely different atmosphere, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, Dortmund yesterday, Friday night, I should say, played against a real low block. It was 11 men behind the ball at all times. And they rested players. The star striker was on the bench, rested him, brought him on the last 5 minutes. So I think they were thinking about the Wednesday night game already. They've watched what they saw the first 70 minutes yesterday. I think they will be scared, because they've got to be up to it. It's not just a case of being technically good; they've got to be physically good as well. Because the pressure we put on, the energy we show every single game, and it's not just like 40 minutes of it; it's 90 minutes of it if we need to. Yeah, I think they will be worried. Absolutely, they will be.
Gary says, Paul, I think the fans all left because we only scored 4. Paul says Palace are a nasty team. Yeah, I was going to pick this up with you, Alex. Me and Billy made reference to it numerous times during the commentary yesterday about the late tackles that were coming in on our players and the fact that the referee just seemed to let them get on with it. I don't know what planet the referee was on yesterday, as is the case for most of the refereeing in the Premier League. But there was some nasty little feet left in yesterday and studs down the back of ankles and things like that just did not go punished by the referee.
Well, this is I'm gonna kind of take a right turn here and say I don't like Roy Hodgson's man management of his own team in this regard, because he's been notorious for this in the past. His post match press conference was about, well, it's a roller coaster of a game, and when you win, the lads are happy, and when they lose, they're not happy. And come on, Roy, they were getting the ump because they were getting absolutely pumped. They were second to every loose ball. A lot of ricochets, to be fair, were actually going their way, to be honest. And it was just poor from them. It's down to the manager there. He should have tried to control his players in that team and try and get them into a shape, a bit more discipline. I don't even know who was captaining Palace yesterday. I'm not even sure. Was it Ward?
Oh, no, sorry, it was Joel Ward, wasn't it? Yes.
They needed a few more leaders to step up and say, look, stop going in for dirty little fouls. That's not going to get us back into this game. We need a bit more structure, a bit more shape, togetherness. And they didn't do that. They just started getting a bit stroppy, 3 or 4 players out of position. Mitchell and Guehi were trying their hardest, and they weren't really getting a lot of support. They got absolutely pumped down that side. And I put a little bit of blame on Roy Hodgson there. And everybody's like, oh, isn't he wonderful? Look at him doing his press conference. It's like, no, the man really did a bad. He didn't manage that game very well at all. I don't think he did.
When we commented about Newcastle having a good start, of course, getting an early goal, which would pull Palace out instead of sitting behind the ball, which, of course, Murphy did. And it turned out that way, Billy, in the first half, didn't it? Because, the gaps were there. But some of the football we played again in that first half, the passing, the movement, it was fabulous to watch again.
Yeah, we very rarely gave the ball away cheaply, did we? The ball really was our friend yesterday, whether it be defenders, midfield players, or attackers. They were superb. Everything was crisp. Everything was fluid, and Crystal Palace, once they went 1 down, didn't seem to have a plan B, which is ridiculous, really. It's like they come in there, well, we're not going to concede, and that's it. Once they conceded, what do we do now?
Of course, Elise and Eze both out. That's a major 2 of their stars, really. You could tell they were missing.
And are you being in?
Well, we know you're a big fan of his.
Well, seeing, I think it was Rak Saki who came on as a substitute, and França, those 2 actually trying to make something happen. Whereas the starting 11, Edouard was atrocious. He was not even close to being good enough for that. That was a sub Premier League level performance. Like, that wasn't even. He needs to pull his finger out, because some of the performances there were shocking. I know a lot of people go, Palace will be fine. They'll be mid-table. They do have quality. Yeah, but as soon as you take 2 or 3 out, it's like us 3 years ago. If you take, when you took sort of Shelby, Dubravka, and ASM out of what we had 3 years ago, we just crumbled. And that's what Palace look like now. If you take 2 or 3 out, they don't look very good at all.
Yeah. Now, one guy that did stand out yesterday, Billy, was Jacob Murphy. Obviously got the first goal, but especially first half, he was fantastic, wasn't he? And made the cross for the goal for Gordon, and then that one where he looked like he was going to give the ball back to Trippier, but he decided, no, I'm going to spin and go to the byline. Yeah. I mean, his confidence is through the roof at the minute, and that bodes well for us that we've got both Miggy and Murphy both right up there, confident now and scoring goals.
Yeah, if I'm going to be a little bit critical of Eddie Howe, I don't think we've seen enough of Jacob Murphy this season, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So I think whenever he plays, he never lets us down. And if he wants to rest Almiron, he's a perfect replacement for him at times. And you've trusted him to play in Milan mainly for his defensive qualities as much as attacking ones. Yeah. He never let us down there. And we've hardly seen him since. And yesterday, first start of the season in the Premier League, believe it or not, in the middle of October. And he was pretty outstanding, wasn't he? There's 2 assists and a goal. He's put his hand up for future games. He must play more now. He must do.
Well, but at the same time, Billy, Miggy did score the first goal against PSG.
He did, so
it's a
before that, I think it's great. I think it's great he has a headache. He's now got 2 right-sided when all of us fans were screaming for a right-sided player to come in the summer, of course. Let's not forget that. Diaby this and, can Madison play there, etc., that we had all the discussions in the summer about. Yet the 2 that we've still got, they're doing the business.
But remember when his missus had the child against Man City, we didn't see him for weeks after that. And he wasn't injured. Just didn't get picked. It was odd. Very odd.
Well, Keith says here, we look much better down the right with Murphy instead of Miggy. He put a lot of first-time crosses in. I think he's a better crosser of the ball than Miggy. I definitely think that.
That's not even an opinion. That's just a fact, isn't it?
Yeah. But, I mean, does Eddie Howe now have a major headache for Wednesday? Because does he play Murphy or does he play Miggy?
Of course he plays Miggy. That's why he played Murphy.
Yeah,
sorry to make that really boring.
No, but I'm not sure he played Murphy because of that. I think Miggy was in obviously South America and had that incident with the constabulary, shall we say?
True.
Maybe his head wasn't fully right. I don't know, but I agree. I think Miggy will start the game, but I'm just saying from Eddie Howe's point of view, he sees Murphy put in a performance like that, and certainly the crossing was absolutely fantastic. Nearly every cross that he put in was making Crystal Palace defenders have to defend. Yeah. It wasn't like he was overhitting them or it was going out of play. He was putting them right in the area we needed to.
And he's got that knack of playing that ball with the outside of his left foot in behind the defenders. He's done it twice now. He did it against Brighton. He did it yesterday. It's a fantastic pass to Wilson. Really, really quality pass.
First time as well.
It's worth mentioning that whether it is Murphy or Miggy, they're the ones who are going to have to deal with Adeyemi against Dortmund. And obviously, we'll get on to the preview whenever we do that. But energy and defensive sort of tenacity, I think Miggy's got slightly more of that. But, although Murphy's not bad at it, it's definitely Miggy's strength, isn't it?
Murphy didn't track back a couple of times yesterday. It's the only small minor point of his performance.
And Adeyemi is quite nippy. So,
yeah. George says, evening, lads and lasses. Enjoyed yesterday. Support for Tonali and the reaction to it were great to see. The special one, Jose says, evening, everyone. Great result yesterday in performance. Troll says, and who comes out with 5 reasons we will beat NUFC? Well, Dortmund have. That we'll discuss that probably in the preview. I'm sure Alex has got a few things to say about that. Michael B says, just walked into this. Is it worth resting Bruno for Wolves to allow him to play against Arsenal? Interesting question, because he didn't pick up a booking yesterday, which would have seen him miss the game against Wolves.
I'm not even thinking beyond Dortmund at this point, but
I
guess.
But then again, if he leaves, I mean, if Tonali's ban comes through this week, and then we simply can't leave Bruno out, we don't have a 6. Because Lewis Miley as well, he's got glandular fever, of course, so he's unavailable.
A very, very important job. Cue the trolls. There you go. Longstaff will have to play 1 game at 6. Won't be amazing, and then everybody go, "Oh, see, back to his usual self." So we'll know that's just not his position.
Now, Joelinton, Billy came back yesterday,
Hmm.
did a few decent things, but you could tell he was ring rusty, definitely building up his match fitness, of course, because he's going to be pivotal on Wednesday night. He's going to, we talk about players' names going first on the team sheet. I think Joelinton will be one of the first on the team sheet for Wednesday night because he brings that physicality. But it was good to get the minutes under his belt and get his match fitness up.
Yeah, his energy was great. His touch was a little bit rusty, but I think 90 minutes or however long he played yesterday was fine. And that'll do really good for the next game and the next game after that. Yeah, so although he was kind of at times yesterday, the ball wasn't running for him, it was falling off his feet, rebounding off him towards different angles. The energy he put in was fantastic, which was the important thing. I think in the end, Class will be kind of brought to the fore on Wednesday when he gets his touch. Absolutely. And a bit more minutes under his belt. It'll be much better for that performance.
Now, Hans is saying here, Alex, any appreciation on Sean Longstaff's performance lately? Well, I think we've done nothing but praise Sean, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean it's been a regular thing week on week now that I think we're up to probably about 4 weeks where he's been raising his performances. His technical level's gone up. He's got a couple of goals. He's contributing in different ways. He's doing. I mean, again, it's something me and Billy spoke about yesterday on the Patreon podcast that he's doing a lot of the work he was doing last season. Those runs into the box, that furthest guy forward, certain things that they were testing last season that didn't quite work. He's persisted with. They've obviously worked with him extensively with the coaches, and it's working this time. He's a yard sharper. His passes are a little bit cleaner. His long passing's improved. His position's improved. He's getting goals. A couple of runs into the box yesterday with those drag backs. And I love that he mixed it up as well. The first cutback was sort of a standard, moderately hit pass. And the second cutback, he really whipped it. He got loads of power. He's varying everything. He's really enjoying his football. He's expressing himself. So for all the criticism we've given him about he has a technical ceiling, he's raised it. How much more he can do, we don't know, but he's definitely raised his technical level. You can just see it. And
I mentioned this yesterday as well. It's his timing of the runs that's impressing me now. He's timing his runs perfectly now, where the passes that come into him are into his stride. You look at the goal he scored yesterday. I love the goal because he didn't just take it on first time. He's thought about it. He's took control of the ball and then buried it.
But that's confidence, minutes,
absolutely,
and training, and faith. And it's happening with a lot of these players, such as Murphy as well. It's already happened with Joelinton. It's refining what they'd already got and then trying to add new things to their game as well. It's just, I said this to Billy yesterday that I'm beyond the point of saying I'm going to write anyone off now, because I just feel like anybody with this group and this set of coaches, send me over there. We'll refine everything. It doesn't matter that they will find strengths. They will identify the weaknesses. They will try and improve them and improve the player mentally, physically, technically. And you can just see it. It's every. I fail to, and anybody that they feel like they can't work with or haven't got the time to work with, they've shipped out. They've sort of. Players like Jamal Lewis and stuff, they've said, okay, we need to, they've gone a different route. But everybody that they've kept, they've improved. I mean, I can't think of anybody that's not really gotten better. I mean, maybe Javier Manquillo is probably the only one who we haven't seen.
I don't think we get to see enough, do we, of Manquillo these days to say whether he has.
Yeah, but I think everybody really, if you look at even outliers of the squad, Kraft went through a period of improvement. Lascelles, Murphy, even Burns improved as a player. Who hasn't? I think Manquillo is probably the only outlier who we've not really got any, somebody said Maxi. I think Maxi improved a lot as well. He changed his game quite a lot. Willock's improved massively.
24 minutes, 11 seconds, Billy.
Well, somebody else said Maxi. It wasn't me.
Man. James says, hi, Paul. I read Tonali's facing 18-month ban. You know if there's any truth in it. I read an article today saying that his lawyers are in Italy tomorrow. And I think they're after some sort of plea deal, which will try and minimize his ban. Now, Billy, I know you said that maybe, an 18-month ban is a possibility with a 6-month suspension. So sort of as 12 months and a 6 month suspended on top. So It could be like that. But listen, we don't know, and nobody knows, to be honest, until it's formally announced. And of course, when it is formally announced, we will bring it to you straight here on the Toon Review.
I think it's possible that the Italian FA might try and keep it light enough to stop Newcastle United looking deeper into things.
Well, there is an extra factor as well on that, and that's next summer's competition.
Well, if Italy are going to be in it, Alex, I mean, there's no, Italy is struggling. I mean, Ukraine look like they're going to finish second.
They might not ban him at all in that case. They might need him to qualify.
Well, exactly.
They might
clearly
have
they missed him. Well. But look, again, it's one of those things. We once they announce it, we'll talk about it then. But until then, there's we don't know. We just have no idea. Simon says Bruno took a nasty crunch on his right foot. I think he's being targeted by opposition midfielders, which is rotten. Henry says, finally, I can watch you guys live after being in Asia for 6.5 months and a killer time difference. Up the Toon and the Toon Review. Thank you very much, Henry. The Roughyard Bernigan says, just room for thought for how good the season has been so far. If we had taken our chances against Liverpool and held out at West Ham, we'd be top of the league. Look, for all we lost our the 3 games, opening 3 games. Look where we are now. There was panic stricken. We didn't lose our first 3 games. I do apologize. We won our first game, but then we lost a few. Everybody was saying Eddie Howe out. He can't do this. He can't do that. He's not big enough to manage in the Champions League, etc. Well, I think he's just shut everybody up. And look, we're talking about going out and playing different sides and how we look at each lineup that Eddie makes, and sometimes we're saying, wow, we didn't realize he was going to do that. But it's clear that he focuses on the next game and the next game only and works out his best team, how he thinks those players that he puts on the pitch will play against that certain opposition. And he'll be doing the same for Dortmund on Wednesday. He will watch Dortmund numerous times and plan for that game meticulously. We know he's like that. So that's why I think, every game that we go into, I think we're quietly just getting along with things. Nobody's bigging us up in the last few weeks. We're just quietly getting on with things, winning games and not, being unbeaten and not conceding many goals. And we're just moving up that Premier League table. And as long as, nobody's sort of saying, oh, look out for Newcastle. You know what I mean? We're just going there just nice and gently, and we'll see what happens.
Twat in the chat without any sort of a doubt.
Who's that? Which one's that?
Miss Janice Preston.
Oh dear, you are truly Durham's most negative man. I just don't understand why there needs to be any nastiness with the team doing so well. Can you not? What have I said?
I don't know. I don't think we've been nasty about anybody, have we?
Janice?
Anybody? Janice? I mean, unless it was
Janice.
about Monkey not improving.
Janice. Now, Janice, please listen, Janice. We've done nothing but praise the team since we started at 7:00, Janice. So I don't know, Janice, where you've come from or who you support, or, if I'm the most negative man in Durham, then God help Durham if I'm being negative tonight, Janice. So please.
Once a woman called Janice Preston who went to the church with no vest on. I'm not saying anything like that.
Yes, indeed. No, I think you should be quiet, Billy. But Janice, I like to say Janice a lot because I feel that you're that person that loves hearing your own name. So, Janice, from Mr. Negative, please go away. Because we are praising the team tonight. I don't understand what you mean by negativity. Please explain in the chat.
She said it's about Almiron, who didn't play yesterday, and we haven't criticised at all.
What? That he's not
Janice,
as good at crossing as Murphy.
And Murphy's a better crosser of the ball. That's all we've said. How is that being negative? We're praising Murphy, who was written off a couple of years ago as if he wasn't going to be part of this rising from the flames. Murphy's improved dramatically, and he's a better crosser of the ball. Janice, have you been on the tipple today, Janice? Have you, a few wines with your Sunday dinner, Janice?
Oh,
anyway, yeah. Never mind. But good evening, Janice. Thank you for watching. Now, one guy that played incredibly well, again, Janice, this is not negative. Fabian Schar, guys. I mean, look, on a serious note, he was just outstanding yesterday. In fact, breathtaking. The way he brought the ball out of defense numerous times, the way he defended, the way his passing range was just on cue, every single ball that he hit. And this guy just seems to be getting better and better and better, Alex.
So I'm just looking at Miggy's crossing percentages. Yeah, so Fabian Schar yesterday. Again, something I've seen recently. I mentioned this to Billy yesterday. All of the early access to Football Manager 24 has dropped. A lot of people are doing Newcastle saves, and the first thing people do is put Botman in their back four, and then go Fabian Schar. We'll look to upgrade on him. And I feel like people who don't watch us week in, week out do not understand just how good this man is at football. He is at the top of his game for a centre half. He's the right age for a centre half. Yes, he's lacking a little bit of pace, and it occasionally gets found out. However, his positioning 9 times out of 10 makes up for that. The quality of his silky little 40-yard passes left and right is just magnificent. Not only that, he plays the occasional killer ball over the top. It's just sensational. He's just, I mean, at this point, I know we love Botman so much, but if we try and compare Botman, since Botman came in, I feel like Schar in the last sort of 6 weeks has been possibly edging slightly in front in terms of performances.
Janice, I've just seen a reply from Janice saying, "You're a very sarcastic man as well. I'm a viewer trying to give you some advice." Well, thank you, Janice, but I don't need the advice because I haven't been negative. You called me negative, right? So how? That's not giving me advice. Advice is you listening to us and saying that statistically as well, and it's a fact that Murphy is a better crosser of the ball than Almiron. That is not being negative to Miggy at all. It is just stating an actual fact, Janice.
So Miguel Almiron is in the bottom 4th percentile for crosses in Europe's top 5 leagues because he's not a crosser of the ball. That's not what we use him for. It's not offensive.
You see, Janice,
it's just a fact.
I am sarcastic, but I'm sarcastic in a very jokey way. I'm not a nasty sarcastic guy. I use sarcasm as a joke, as a person. It's a part of my personality, Janice. So I'm sorry you feel like that. But if I'm negative and sarcastic, why are you watching? Seriously. I mean, look, if you want real narcissists and things like that, there's a lot of other channels out there. Believe me. There's some very good ones, but there's some very, very, very. So I think you might be better watching them, Janice. Anyway, Billy, you were absolutely, the positivity you showed under, yesterday for Schar was incredible because we both did. Every time he got the ball, bringing it out of defense, it was awesome, wasn't it?
It was prime Beckenbauer. When he used to play sweeper for West Germany back in the 70s. However, he used to have 2 centre halves with him, and he's like one of 4, and he's breaking out of defence. And my light keeps going off and on. It's doing my pissing head in. It was the way he was bringing the ball out of defence as well as his passing, which was like inch perfect yesterday.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. It was like watching prime Beckenbauer. It seriously was. He's probably been the best sweeper ever to play the game. And, he was on levels yesterday. Normally,
Billy, he hits passes. He hits the odd one that sort of goes into the stands or goes into the River Tyne. But yesterday, every single one was brilliant.
I mean, do you want to see his improved data?
Well, why not?
It is impressive.
Let's get it up. Forgive the saying.
Yes, Billy. Let's get it up.
So you've got his main chunk of data here, which doesn't highlight too much. Obviously, his offensive stuff is ridiculous. Progressive passes received, aerials are really good. However, the interesting stuff is when you go down to have a look at shots for a centre half, 99th percentile, shots on target is ridiculous. Also shots from free kicks. And then the important stuff is down here. Here you go. So passes completed long, 84th percentile. Passes attempted long, 88th. You've got passes into the final third, passes into the penalty area, crosses into the penalty area, switches, through balls, all of the crosses, all of those important metrics offensively as a centre half, he is showing elite numbers for. It's just outrageous. Some of the stuff that he's tasked with doing, he's just he's definitely taken up another gear this year. It's ridiculous. He's performing out of his skin. He really is.
I mean, look, you can talk about sort of Botman and everything like that, and how Botman has come in and been superb, and I think the fact that under Steve Bruce, Fabian Schar has admitted that he wanted to leave. He fell out of love with football. And everybody was saying, oh, he can't play in a back four or, rubbish like this. And he's just gone on, Billy, and just proved everybody wrong. And Eddie Howe's come in and realized the potential or the actual class that maybe not potential, but because he's already got it. And saw how good Fabian Schar was and thought, right, he's going to be one of my mainstay centre-backs, part of the spine of the team. And under Dan Burn, when his first half season here, they were brilliant. And then, of course, Botman's come in and it's just continued. Yes, there's been the odd bad game, but, no player's going to play brilliantly every single game.
You know what? I think he's actually got to a higher level since Botman's been out. He's had to kind of been the main man in the back four, the centre-half pair. He really has come on leaps and bounds in the past month since Botman's been out. It's been visible to the eye,
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal, really, how he performs. And when he played with Dan Burn at Brighton, we thought that was never going to happen because the two of them were terrible together. But since then, since Botman's injury, we were worried, weren't we? We were worried with Lascelles and Schar. That's not going to work, surely. They're both right-footed centre-backs. How's that going to work? Fabian Schär's turned that upside down. He's been absolutely superb recently.
Indeed. Vincent, I do hope that's a joke. You remember the channel, so I assume that is a joke. But never mind. Apparently, Janice likes my husky voice. Well, Call Me Swift says, was that a Friends reference, Paul, or am I just Friends nerd? No, you know exactly what I was doing there. Exactly, you know what I was doing. Cynical Jim says, if Dortmund have been watching our recent games, they have to be worried. Yeah, exactly. Hans says, Mr. Paul, he needs something tickled by a feather. Okay. James says, I thought that, Paul, you need to relax and stop the nastiness against the players, lol. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Anyway, right. Oh, apparently slating Almiron's right. He has been great for us.
We didn't say anything different.
I didn't say anything different to that.
Just said he's not a good crosser of the ball because he's playing as an inverted winger. It's just like
he may be a very good crosser of the ball on his left foot, but we don't get to see that many times because players know what he's going to do.
I think Callum Wilson's not been very good at claiming crosses this year because he's not a goalkeeper. It's not a reflection on his footballing ability. It's just not what he does in his role in the team at the moment. Yeah. Like Miggy doesn't cross with his right foot. Very occasionally, he's an inverted winger. He just does a different thing.
David says, is Janice related to Villa Watch? Do you know what it is? Oh, sorry, I don't know what I was going to say there. We'll move on. Chris says, notice they are bringing Trippier into the centre to distribute, so I'm telling Lascelles to move to the right. It worked well when not under pressure at the back. Well, I thought Lascelles played really well again yesterday. I didn't have a problem at all with Jamal Lascelles. I've seen some people saying, does Botman walk back into the team when he's fit? Absolutely does. But look, to know that Lascelles is playing at a much higher level now, certainly under the guidance of the manager, I think is absolutely superb. It's just great seeing this team come together no matter who we put on the pitch.
I was amazed that Palace actually didn't press us yesterday, especially, Jamal Lascelles. There was no pressure whatsoever. It was laughable, really. From an ex-England manager, okay, he was crap at it. But, it was amazing, really. They didn't press at all. If I'd have been a Crystal Palace fan, if ever, I've seen people calling for his head, actually, Crystal Palace fans, and I think they're right in doing so because that was horrific yesterday.
By the way, Janice has commented saying Murphy is a poor man's Almiron who is playing off pure adrenaline.
So you're slagging off Murphy? What?
1 goal, 2 assists yesterday.
Yeah,
playing off adrenaline.
An absolutely fantastic cross for the goal. A fantastic pass to Callum Wilson. That is not adrenaline. That is quality. Okay.
Preston must be a Paraguayan name, and I've just not noticed.
Well, I don't know. George says that's very negative for you not to listen to that advice, Paul. Let Janice run the channel. Indeed.
We're getting sidetracked now. Let's ignore Janice. He's talking absolutely nonsense.
I think we should ignore Janice. Anyway, we're coming up to the player ratings. So as usual, let us know in the chat what you think. Do you agree with our player ratings? Do you not agree with our player ratings? Let's have a look. So before we do that, Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got over 1,000 people watching, but we only have 232 likes, guys. Now, if we get up to 600 likes, I'm going to give a Daisy mug away. Okay, so if we get to 600 likes in the next 20 minutes before the end of the stream, I will give a Daisy mug away. We need to get to 600 likes, though, so take 2 seconds out just to hit that thumbs up button. Janice, you can do it as well. You never know. You may have won a big cow on your mug. Yes, I know. So please take time out, hit the thumbs up button. If we get to 600 likes, I will do a draw for a Daisy mug.
Could I just say thank you to the people that have messaged me as well? But I had lots of people messaging me about, yes, I'm aware match of the day did exactly the same stuff I did in the preview. I know. I'm happy, but at the same time, a little bit frustrated about it, but it is what it is.
Hey, if people are commenting,
even Shearer was loving it. He was like, he didn't like XG, but now he loves XG because we're top of it. So
yeah,
fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Please do keep super chatting if you want to donate to the channel, and of course that will get your comment read straight out as well. Thank you in advance for that. The likes. Well, I don't know whether my system's just frozen now because I can't see the likes. I'll have to. I'll do a quick refresh before we do the player ratings, guys, and then we'll see where we're at. 393 now, so keep them coming in, guys. If we get to 600, we will do a draw. Right, Nick Pope. Let's start off with our goalkeeper, Billy Bob. Not a great deal to do, but obviously got rid of that ball very quickly for our 4th goal yesterday, which was nice to see.
He did, and he made 2 good saves. So despite my previous kind of criticisms of him in the past couple of weeks, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I thought it was what he had to do yesterday was fantastic at it.
Yeah, but Alex? I nearly called you Janice there. I'm too sorry. It nearly slipped off the tongue. I don't know why.
I mean, Alex, Janice can do the rating. She's welcome to.
Absolutely. Jordy Kev, thank you for
3.
becoming a new member, matey. Really do appreciate that. Thank you. And welcome to the family, my friend. Go on, Alex.
I'm going to give Pope. It's one of those games where I feel like he deserves an 8 because he didn't have a lot to do and he stayed switched on for the important moments. They actually got through, Palace accumulated over 1 XG, so arguably should have been on the score sheet. Or they did accumulate a lot of half chances, a lot of shots outside the box, 17 shots for the game. But Pope had to make sure he stayed switched on. And, as we become better and better and better as a team, he's going to have to do that because he's going to have large periods of the game where he's not going to have to do anything. And that's the measure of a top goalkeeper is, can you stay focused and make the big saves? And he did it. And he made a great save of the free kick. And I'll give him an 8 as well for the funny moment when he nearly let the ball roll towards his goal and the whole crowd went.
I think everybody had a bloody heart attack then.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Good job Billy didn't lean to his right when that happened.
Good, right.
We know what happens there.
I think we kind of went, well, I think we.
Yeah. Look, he stayed big as well when Raggy Saki or whatever his name was got through down the right-hand side and, saved with his thigh, I think he saved there. So, he did what he had to do. I agree with you guys. An 8 for me. There was nothing too... he didn't do anything risky. I thought his distribution was a lot better. Didn't seem to kick the ball out of play a lot yesterday. So yeah, I was very happy with Nick Pope. So I think 8 is a good score. Right, our captain Kieran Trippier, Alex.
I'm going to give him a 10.
Wow, okay.
Purely just for the amount of hard work he did, the overlaps. The average position as well. If you look at the average position, I mean, we've not put graphics up, but if you look at the average position of Trippier, it was so high up. I think it's the highest up I've seen him all season.
Yeah,
in an average position. The overlaps were just constant.
First half especially was incredible.
A couple of times Murphy wasn't helping, and obviously Trippier had to make sure he was alert to that. He shouldn't have got booked. That was ridiculous. They were trying to have fights. He had a couple of nasty challenges on him as well. Captain's performance, albeit Lascelles was on the pitch. I don't know what more he could have done any better than that. It's a 10. I don't know. He got an assist, didn't he, as well? So
yeah, he did.
10. Like, what else could he do really apart from score? And he's a right back. We're not making him score to get a 10.
I'm going 10 as well. I thought he was absolutely superb. That first half, the amount of times that Trippier saw the ball. But what I liked this time was Trippier was also firing in crosses as well as Murphy. It wasn't just sort of a little bit of ticky-tacky and then deciding who's going to cross it. They both were crossing the ball. Really, his set pieces have improved dramatically this season. Listen, he leads by example every single match he plays. And the booking was a farce yesterday. It was an absolute farce. There's no doubt about that. So, unfortunately, he gets a booking for something that was out of his control. I think Sean Longstaff got a booking as well after being writhed down to the floor via his neck. Just ridiculous refereeing.
Yeah, he got like 3 people like winding him up for ages, and then he stopped a throw in for about half a second, and the ref booked him. It's like, whoa, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Trippier was just Christina. Trippier was shite. 1 out of 10. I'm trying to take over from Janice. There's only one Janice. Billy?
10 assists and we're in October for right
It's
back.
unbelievable, isn't it, for a right back?
I mean, 10 assists at the end of the season, you'd say that's fantastic. We're in October. We've played like 12, 13 games. He's been outstanding. But I'm going to give him a 9 for yesterday because he did get caught out a couple of times when Mitchell went forward. He gets balled inwards now and again. Well, I think I have seen him better than that, so I'm going to give him a 9.
Well, that's why there's a beehive right behind you, Billy, because the bees are coming for you.
People have said that, but I've seen him better than that. But I feel like
that's
the
more
additional
Murphy's fault
overlapping.
But he does get pulled inwards. I think both fullbacks do. I think it's Eddie Howe.
Yeah, we mention it a lot, don't we, Billy, during the commentaries, is sometimes when those crosses are coming in, there's always seems to be a spare man for the opposition at the back post. And I see what you mean by that. I do see that. You know, there's no doubt that happens. Right, on the other side was, of course, Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn was just steady away yesterday. What I'm loving about Dan Burn lately is he is wanting to get forward now. He's trying to add that dimension to his game that we've been very critical of in the past. And I think running down that line, he's overlapping Gordon on numerous occasions. He's getting involved. You know, he doesn't fire many crosses in, but at least he's trying to develop. Even at his stage of his career, he is trying to develop that into his game. And I thought, look, he was steady away, great again yesterday. And look, I'm loving Dan Burn at left back at the minute because I just can't criticize him. And it's brilliant. The performances he's putting in are great. And I just think he was steady away yesterday. So I'm giving him an 8. Billy?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd probably give him a 9 if he'd have kicked IU more. But
well, yeah, I know you wanted that to happen, yeah.
He does get forward and help Gordon out more now. And it's great to see. So I think 8's fair for him.
Andy says Billy's the Craig Revel Horwood of the Toon Review.
Oh, darling, please don't.
Oh, darling. Alex?
I mean, the people in the chat know what's coming because they've mentioned it. I'm going to give a 7 because he needs to learn how to take a throw in.
Oh, no, Alex, I've given him an extra point because it was so bloody funny. when he threw it.
But he did it against West Ham as well. He had a foul throw against West Ham as well.
Yeah, I know, but Alex, it was
in a row
so
with
funny.
Foul throws. It's not.
I think he was trying to pass it to someone out to take it, and he kind of got.
It was just after he took it, he just stood there. It's like everybody was frozen in time because they knew it was a foul throw, and Dan Burn just must have stood there. Did I actually do that?
It was probably close to an 8 performance, but purely through no fault of his own because he didn't have that much to do. They didn't have that much straight on that side. I'm going to give him a 7. But I thought he was really solid, and I'm actually really happy he didn't have loads to do because I'm hoping that will keep him fresh enough for Wednesday because we're going to need him. We're going to need a big performance from him. It was good that he didn't have too much to do. We managed the game towards the end, so hopefully he's got all the legs for Wednesday. So 7, but he didn't do anything wrong.
No, really, I know why you give him a 7, but I mean, I've given him an extra point for the comedic value of that. I thought it was. I mean, we were paying ourselves on the watch along after just looking at his face as well because he looked at the crowd, didn't he? And I thought the crowd he was going to laugh. But he thought, if I laugh right in front of Eddie Howe after giving him a foul throw, I can't. It was like he was biting his lip not to laugh at it. It was just the whole thing was hilarious.
He had a brain fart, didn't he? Got a brain fart.
Yeah, yeah, of course you're right with that, Alex. That nobody should be taking a foul
not
throw.
To do that. I mean, not to do it. I mean,
but I'll tell you what, there isn't many left backs playing as well as Dan Burn at the moment in the Premier League. There really isn't.
I agree.
Listen, I've slated him. I know I have, but not slated him. I've always been a fan of Dan Burn, but he hadn't played well. But now. Listen, there's just nothing to complain about with Dan Burn. I'm loving his performances at the minute. Martin Watson, thank you for your $4.99 super chat. He says, I think you should produce a Don't Be a Janice mug. It was always don't be a Karen, wasn't it? Janice has taken that mantle over quite well. Right, centre backs. We'll start off with Jamal Lascelles, Alex.
I mean, my gut feeling is a 7, but I want to look at the data. I mean, what did he do? 6 out of 9 aerial duels. Nah, I think he deserves higher than a 7. He actually did considerably better than I thought. 105 touches of the ball, 85 out of 95 passes, loads of aerial duels. It suited his game. Lots of blocks and block shots, clearances. Yeah, he'll go for an 8. I think it's possibly even more than an 8, but I'll go with an 8. I thought he was really, really solid. Nice to see him, nice and calm and collected. The sort of Mateta and Edwards definitely suited his style of play, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, Billy.
Yeah, I thought he was the main man for against their set pieces, which they were dangerous from. Okay, the first one didn't reach the Palace head, went just wide, but everyone after that, Lascelles got his head too.
He did, yeah.
Astonishing performance, really, from someone that we've castigated for years now, a couple of years. Yeah, much better with the ball at his feet, looks less ponderous on the ball. I'm going to give him an 8.
Well, I'm going to give him a 9. I thought he was brilliant yesterday again. And, what I like about him now is, I mentioned this yesterday, Billy, is that he doesn't just get the ball and treat it like a hot potato, try and pass the ball where there's no pass on or panic. He's starting just to settle down and give the easy ball to the better passing players like Trippier and Fabian Schar. He's not trying to do anything too difficult. If there's a pass on, he'll do it. He'll give it. But he's not trying to do anything too difficult now. And I have more confidence when he's on the ball now that he's just given the easy pass to the players that are better passers than him. But I thought he was, you're right. All those crosses that came in yesterday, the one player that got majority of headers away was Lascelles. It was incredible. So he gets a 9 from me. Right, we'll move on to Fabian Schar. 10 for me. I can't. There's no way you can give him anything less. Billy?
Yeah, 10, 100% a 10. And if I give him any more than that, I would. He was outstanding yesterday.
Alex?
This is why I rate it harshly, because when you give someone a 10, it needs to mean something. That was probably one of his best performances in a black and white shirt. Fabian Schar deserves a 10, which is in line with his 10 accurate long balls he hit, which is outrageous, by the way. 92% pass accuracy. He won 100%.
That's not just passing, Alex. That's long balls, yeah?
10 long balls, 10 accurate long balls. He attempted 15. He hit 10 of them, which is outrageous. He won 100% of his duels. If he managed to step round his man, he would drive through into midfield. Switches were outrageous. Killer balls in behind were outrageous. Threat from set pieces. He's playing slightly out of position. He doesn't play left side typically. Not done there for a long time. So he's doing that kind of performance, slightly out of position as well. You could go as far as saying that's his best game in a black and white shirt.
Yeah,
I know he didn't score.
It's not far away. Absolutely.
We don't like to measure centre halves by their ability to score. I want them doing centre half things.
Yeah,
a modern day centre half, you're not going to get much better than what he just produced. It's
the Anthony Gordon goal was proof of that, wasn't it, Billy? Where he bombed. He was in the box. I mean, the ball went over his head, almost hit Wilson, but Gordon finished it off. But he didn't stop running, and it was very, dare I say it, Philip Albert-esque, the way he was bringing the ball forward yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. I think him playing on the left-hand side of defence, and his diagonal balls are now going to the right-hand side more than the left. That's maybe the reason why we're seeing more attacks down the right and not the left.
That's a good point, actually, because Trippier is certainly more of attacking than Dan Burn. So yeah, you could be right with that. Okay, we'll move into midfield now, and we'll start with Bruno. I'm giving Bruno a 9. I thought he was superb yesterday. I thought everything he did was the normal Bruno, just doing everything and making it look so simple. That's the thing he's doing now. He's winning the ball, but what he's doing now is, and I've noticed this in the last few games, he's not going down trying to win cheap free kicks around the box. When he's getting a lot of players around him, he's laying it off to Trippier. They're playing little 1-2s. The right midfielders then coming back. Murphy coming back, helping play us out to defense, which I think he's doing a bit more. And I'm just loving Bruno at the minute. His performances are fabulous. So a 9 from me, Billy.
10 for me. I thought he pulled all the strings. He was fantastic. I love it when he makes fools of the opposition, which he does every week. Little flicks to get away from them. Yeah, his passing was on point. He just prompts everything for me. And he gets less pressure now with Schar doing the stuff behind him. There's less pressure on him to do it. So it's all good for Bruno. Been brilliant the past 4 or 5 weeks. 10 for me.
Alex?
Absolute 10.
Okay.
Again, I know he didn't score and do certain things offensively, but I'm basing the rating on his position, and he played that position immaculately. 6 out of 7 ground duels. Passing was clean. He didn't foul anybody. He was perfect. He was up against Czech Decore, Jefferson Lerma, who's no joke, Will Hughes, big, strong central midfielders. He lost 1 duel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Abs is right.
performance.
Some of Bruno's touches were sublime.
Outrageous. It was world class. He deserves a 10. But for his positional play, he wasn't doing some crazy, lofted over the top balls. And he did a few, but he was just playing his position and rating what he did in that role. Absolute 10 out of 10. Like, he played that role perfectly.
Yeah. Mike says he's left all the criticism behind him and back to his best. Players go through dips in form. Yeah, he had a slow start the season, but we always said, and despite a few people thinking I was criticizing him, so he'd always get back to his best, and he has. Stephen says since his contract has been sorted, he's back to his best. Once again, Bruno, Christina's tried to dear me. Steve says you've talked me into it, upgrading to a 10 as well. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Guys, we're currently sitting on 473 likes, so we still need 127 for us to give away a prize tonight. So please do. There's nearly 1,050 watching. Please take a bit of time out just to hit that thumbs up button for us. And let's get this up to 600 likes if we can. Right, we move into Joelinton now, Billy.
Energy was fantastic. The ball didn't fall for him. It was bouncing off him at times, but that's down to rust. 3 weeks out. I'm going to give him a 7.
Alex?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'd give him the same. 1 out of 4 aerial duels, which just goes to show how well Bruno did, to be fair. Because Joelinton lost quite a few duels. But yeah, he did fine. He didn't do anything wrong, but it was great to get him loads of minutes in his legs, get rid of the rustiness, string some passes together. He was helping with Gordon on that left side. Again, it works so well when I know we like Tonali, but at the same time, it's great when Joelinton's there because he really does. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable with Dan Burn and Gordon, because sometimes Gordon wants to go on a run and then there's a big gap. There's a lot of space for teams to exploit or try to exploit. When Joelinton's in the team, he's great at wide cover. He's great at ball carrying. He's great at breaking up play. 7. He didn't, rip up any trees, but he was solid.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I just thought it was a very, very good match for him to get his fitness back. Coming back from injury, getting his match fitness up for the big game on Wednesday. I think he did what he had to do. He didn't make mistakes and things like that. He was very, very good in the effort that he put in. Things didn't go his way with the ball too much, but listen, it's rustiness, and that's all it is. He'd be back, just needed a game under his belt, and that's what he got. So a 7 for me. Sean Longstaff now, 10 for me. I thought Longstaff was brilliant yesterday. Going out to the right, coming in, making runs, causing problems all game, took his goal brilliantly. And I think Sean Longstaff is just absolutely incredible at the minute. And he is knocking on the door for England. There is no doubt in my mind. Who would I rather have in the England side, Calvin Phillips or Sean Longstaff right now? No question about it. No question about it. And it's, again, Sean had a slow start to the season. There's no doubt about that either. He was a little bit rusty, but by God, he's a massive cog in the wheel of Newcastle United now. So a 10 for me. Alex?
Yeah, I don't know how I could give him any less than 10 because I felt like it was similar. It was similar to his old sort of 7 or 8 performances, plus a goal and better link-up play. Those little bits that we're asking for, he's delivering them. So it's got to be a 10. The link-up play with the right-hand side was brilliant. He was involved in the nice passing sequences, the energy, the breaking up of play, the goal, the persistence. Yeah, I don't know how I could give him any less than a 10 for that performance, really.
Barry the B, you've given Longstaff an 8. Just put in the comments why. I'd like to know why you've only scored him an 8. I'd be interested to hear. Billy?
Well, I'll go back to the Aston Villa game away last year when he wasn't playing, and it was then I noticed that when we don't have Sean Longstaff playing, we are vulnerable to getting overrun in midfield. When he plays in midfield, we don't get overrun. He's the glue that holds it all together. But this season, he's been a bit more than that. He's as we've said, last season he was getting into the box and he didn't look confident in there. This year, he's getting into the box and he's scoring goals. 10 out of 10 without any shadow of a doubt.
Yep. Okay, we'll move into the front three now, and we'll start off with Anthony Gordon. Billy?
One missed chance from the yard out. He did score. Did different things. Couldn't side. Lovely pass out to the right flank for one of the chances we created.
Mhm.
I'll give Anthony Gordon a 9, I think.
Okay. Alex?
Tough one, because I think it was an 8 performance, but I feel like I kind of got to give him a 9 because of the goal. So I'll go with a 9, but
Mhm.
again, it wasn't that because he wasn't involved. It was purely just how we were trying to play the game. But as I alluded to at the beginning, I love that he's introduced a different sort of, well, not introduced. He played a different role. We tried to exploit the right hand side more. Some of the little build-up play on that left-hand side to then get it switched over to the right. He was involved in it. Was great. You know, he got on the end of stuff. He was working hard. Yeah, it was a 9, but it was a very different kind of 9 to what we've seen before.
Yeah.
I think Ward played him quite well. I think Ward played him quite well, actually.
Yeah, he did.
To be honest.
I'm going to give him a 9 as well, but I'm giving him a 9 because even though he missed that sitter, his attitude straight away after missing the sitter was, I'm going to chase this ball down. And he won a throw in. He didn't dwell on it. He didn't sort of just put his head down and go, oh my God, you know, I've missed that. He went after the ball. He won a throw in. And a couple of minutes later, you know, he took his goal brilliantly because I mentioned this in the commentary. That cross came in, okay? He's got Callum Wilson in front of him. And you're going to think Callum's going to get that. But what Gordon didn't do was take his eye off the ball. He kept his eye on the ball all the way across and finished it brilliantly. Because he could have snapped at it or snatched because he would have thought Wilson was going to score, but he didn't. He kept his eye on the ball, and I think it was a truly brilliant finish. So a 9 for me.
He gave himself that extra split second by taking it with his left. If he'd done that with the volley first one, he probably would have scored that one too.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Barry says, personally, just think, this is talking about Longstaff, obviously, why I give him an 8. Just think he gives the ball away at times and seems a bit slow on the ball, and it annoys me, that's all. Well, it's opinions. How do I pronounce that name?
Dinesh.
Thank you for becoming a member. That's really kind. And thank you for supporting the channel. Really do appreciate it. Welcome to Members Club. You are most welcome. Right, we'll go to the other side. Jacob Murphy. 10 for me. Billy?
Yeah, 10 for me. And
yeah.
I said yesterday, Schar was man of the match. I've actually changed my tune since watching it again. Murphy was phenomenal yesterday. I think he was man of the match, 10.
Interesting. Well, I'm keeping Schar as man of the match, but I understand why you've done that, Billy. It could be anybody. Alex?
I mean, it's one of those where I'll let people have their own opinions, but I don't see on what planet Murphy's not man of the match of that game by anybody's metrics, because he got 2 assists and a goal. Has to be man of the match just based on the output. You know, he contributed. If you could argue a couple of those times he didn't track back is going to detract from that. I mean, I guess that's fair. But yeah, accurate cross, accurate long ball, created 2 big chances, 2 key passes. Yeah,
I think this is the first time where I've seen every comment come in that's given him a 10. I don't think I've seen anything lower than a 10 for Murphy.
Yeah,
so
probably the only full house of 10s for Murphy that we've had on the channel, I would imagine.
He's a kid living the dream, isn't he? He's a Newcastle United kid. He's literally living the dream. You see the way he looks on the pitch. He's always got a smile on his face.
When he came off and he did that.
What a character. What a character he is.
Yeah.
To the camera. Well. Brilliant.
His little 25-yard shot didn't go unnoticed as well. He loves a little pop. He's got, I mean, to be fair, we knew that back in the day, even under Rafa and Steve Bruce, he took a few free kicks. You could see he'd got a decent shot on him. Fair enough. Sometimes they hit the post, and he had a habit of hitting the post an awful lot back in the day. But we've always known he's had a little bit about him in terms of shooting, and now he's refined it, and he loves that 25-yard shot, and they're dangerous.
Indeed. Right, Callum Wilson. Alex.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. It's one that I'm going to have to rate him not based on data, because so much of what he did was off the ball. It was moving centre halves. It was rough and tough stuff.
Yeah. I'm
going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a really high score purely based on I think there's so much that the 3 men at the back post, the space that everybody had, a lot of that came from his movement, his occupying of centre halves, and his use of space. It's difficult to try and measure that, but it was so good. He was so careful with the ball. Again, 6 out of 6 accurate passes. He got his goal in the end. He had an interesting little moment where the centre halves, for whatever reason, split, and he found himself free. I can't remember who dinked it to him. Was it Schar? It might have been Schar or Bruno. They dinked it to him, and he had a little 50-50 go whether he was going to turn left or right to try and beat who I think it was probably Anderson at that point. And he chose the wrong way in it, but we could have been through there. But he didn't get too much. He didn't really get put through. He didn't get many touches of the ball, but he never gave up. He was super, super persistent.
Yeah, he was.
And I feel like that kind of performance, I feel like even Isak now, you can see gets frustrated sometimes because he's young. Wilson never gets frustrated. He's like, nope. He just carries on because he knows exactly what his job is and he understands that what he's doing contributes to the overall team. It's why we're doing so well. At 9, I think he's amazing. And yeah, we've got to talk about this because he went through that huge run of after the World Cup of he lost his fitness a bit. He was a bit ill. It was, the way Wilson's playing at the moment is incredible. And his goals to game ratio at the moment is the best in the league. He's just playing out of his skin. He's so experienced.
Norvik says, is Christina Janice in disguise? No, Christina's taken the Mickey out of Janice, Norvik. She's taken over the mantle. Billy, Callum Wilson?
He got his goal, his customary goal, but what impressed me yesterday was his general back-to-goal play. The ball to feet, his close control, 2 physical centre-halves at his back. Phenomenal. Yeah, he had a really, really good game yesterday. And like Stato just alluded to, after he came back from the World Cup, he looked a bit weak, didn't he? He looked slow, weak.
Yeah.
He weren't weak yesterday. He was strong as an ox. And he's not a big bloke, really. He's, 5'10", something like that. But it's close control, laying the ball off to people. Great performance, 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. I'm going with a 9 as well. I loved what Callum did yesterday. I love when he starts the rough stuff with the centre-backs. He gave them a rough ride the whole game, didn't stop until he came off. Took his goal brilliantly as he expected him to. Didn't panic, just controlled the ball and then slotted it past Johnston. And it was a lovely work goal, that one. But it's what he does off the ball as well. He's always causing the defenders problems. He's always making them work. He's always giving them a really difficult time. And what I also loved was the little laugh that he had with Isak when he came off. Don't know what they said to each other, but they had a joke, and I thought that's lovely to see. 2 guys competing for the same spot on the team, but you can tell that the team spirit and the family environment that Eddie Howe has created.
I don't think they are.
Well, no, I don't think it's a fierce rivalry for the centre.
Yeah, but they both know that neither one nor the other can play 60 matches this season.
But they play a very different game to each other. They're not the same type of player. So that's why I don't think it's a fierce rivalry. I just loved it. I just loved when they were smiling coming off the pitch. It was brilliant. 9 for me. Right, we'll go through the substitutes quickly because I'm very aware we've gone way over time. So
Livramento and Tonali first.
Yeah, 4 came on at once, didn't they?
Yeah, they brought 4 on, yeah.
Miggy and Isak as well then.
Yeah, so we'll do Livramento and Tonali first. Billy?
Livramento, okay. Yeah, didn't pull up any trees. One miscontrolled pass when he got it out on the flank there and let it out go for throwing. So I'll give him a 6. And I'll give Tonali, for one fantastic ball from one side of the pitch to the other, I'll give him an 8.
Okay. I'm going with a 6 and a 7. Alex?
I'm going with a 6 and a 10. So 6 for Livramento. He didn't do. It was just
Alex,
he wasn't really long enough.
Alex, you just said earlier on in this player ratings that you only give 10s because they were actually a 10 performance. Now,
yes,
as much as Tonali did okay yesterday, but you cannot say he was a 10.
Or do you want to explain it to me?
Well, please do explain. I'm dying to find out.
For a young man who's going through what he's currently going through, to get subbed onto the pitch and to complete 17 out of 18 passes and to hold his own, his life is essentially in his own head about to collapse. His career's about to stop, and he's going to have to sit there and reassess his entire life with his family. So to come on the pitch and to do his job for us, I feel like the context of that, he deserves a 10 because he played fine. He came on and he did well. And the context of it deserves a 10 in my opinion, because you've got to imagine what could have been going through his head.
I
feel
know.
like that has to count
Well,
for something.
look, I can see why you've given him a 10 with the explanation, of course. But I'm just basically rating him for his performance. I'm not talking.
Yeah,
I think I'm not going through
you,
anything.
You are right. It was probably a 7 or an 8, 100%.
Yeah.
But I feel like the added context of he was trying to play those passes probably with jelly legs. You've got to realize what's going through that man's head.
Yeah.
He had to try and stay focused enough to play well, and he did. And I respect that. I appreciate that as a fan. It must have been so hard for him. That's why he went to the crowd, and I'll give him a 10 for it.
Okay. Right, we'll move to Miggy and Isak. Miggy, I'm giving Miggy a 7 and Isak a 7. They didn't really pull up any trees when they were on the pitch.
Gutted he didn't get to that ball. I thought he was faster than who was he foot racing? I can't remember.
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
I thought he was faster when he started the run.
I know the exact one you're talking about. Yeah,
and then he got caught. I was like, oh no way did he actually get caught? I think it was the contact that got Mitchell back into it. But I thought that was going to be a 5th. I really did.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm giving them both a 7. I thought they did well when they came on. But Alex.
Yeah, same. But I think they were saving themselves on purpose because Eddie Howe said that in the press conference. He said we were saving ourselves. He literally quoted that that was exactly why they were doing it. There was a few opportunities where Isak played a few dangerous balls, and then after that he just went backwards because they were just trying to save their legs for Wednesday, which is fair.
We're currently at 565 likes, guys. 565. We need 600.
Foxy, mate, that's so out. That's in bad taste. That really is.
Yes. Never mind. Right. Okay, Billy.
Yeah, I'll give Miggy a 7, but I'll give Isak an 8 because I thought when he came on, he was brilliant. His touch was spot on. And he's the one that put that ball through for Miggy to run through.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I thought when Isak come on, he looked really good. It looked like it was one of those on days for him. Had we seen him for the full game, who knows what we'd have seen? But
he's definitely trained. All of this. He's not trained at all. Of course, he's trained.
Without doubt. No rust there at all, was there?
No. And Elliot Anderson did come on, but he wasn't on long enough for me to rate him.
He did make a really important. I think who was it? Somebody played a funny ball that nearly got intercepted, and Anderson had to bust a gut to make sure we didn't get transitioned. And he did well when he came on. I know it was only 10 minutes, but he completed 8 out of 8 passes, 1 out of 1 long balls, and stopped a counter attack. Like I know it was only 10 minutes, but he did really important stuff while he was on the pitch. To be fair to him.
Well, there you go, Billy. You now have an official fan club.
So I've seen, yeah.
What's
the picture of?
That is a very interesting pose.
Oh, that's a troll, then, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Is that you or is it somebody else?
It looks like me. It looks like a Photoshop me, but it's a troll. It's a troll. I would imagine.
Anyway, Danny Howard, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Evening, guys. What a game that was last night. Which player do you think should get in the England squad? Gordon and Longstaff, personally. I think the other two would agree with me on that one.
I think Burn as well. We can't go into a tournament with no left backs in the squad.
Well, do you know what? You're probably right, Billy. Definitely. Right, Eddie Howe, 10s all round.
Thought he managed it perfectly. Bringing Tonali on with 20 minutes to go. It's just not just 10 minutes, 20 minutes to have a proper run out. Absolutely. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me.
Substitutions as well. I'll tell you what, do you remember like 6 months ago where we were all, I feel like we were all questioning substitution times and we were just accepting of them. Whereas now, every time Hal makes a sub, I completely agree with it. I found, I don't know if it's because I've changed my expectations of what he does or if he's just changed the way he subs. I'm not sure, but
no, I think he's got 5 people on the bench he trusted yesterday, so he could make 5 changes.
Yeah. Maybe he's got more personnel and more trusted personnel, so he's making those calls when last year maybe he wasn't comfortable doing it.
Absolutely. Well, we've hit 600 likes, so we will do a very quick draw now. Obviously, I can't put. We haven't done a hashtag or anything for this, so I'll have to use my little wheel of fortune that I've got stuck here, so it keeps a track of people online. So I'm going to do that now.
And the winner is Janice.
Could you, if her name comes up, I'm redrawn. Only joking, Janice. Everyone's entitled to the win. Right, here we go. It is spinning. Who is going to win? Who? Slowing down. James, you have won the Daisy mug, who I believe is Rachel's partner. James, you have won the Daisy mug. Well done. I do need you to confirm, or Rachel to confirm, that you've won. So I know I'm going to get an email with an address on. So James, you have won. Let me know in the chat very, very quickly, because we're going to have to go. So you're going to have to be quick, James or Rachel, whichever one. Yeah, Rachel's there, so then we know that James has won. Right, there you go. So, James, wow, feel like I've won an Oscar. Well, it's practically an Oscar. It's bigger than an Oscar. A Daisy mug is far bigger than an Oscar. When you've got Billy Trey's ex-girlfriend on the side of a mug, you are honoured, to be honest.
You'll get plenty of milk in that mug, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Well, there you go, James. Well done. If you can send me your address, Rachel can send it on the WhatsApp group or something like that. That's fine. Right, that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, we have a transfer show. So we're going to look at some more names that could be in the mix for January. And then, of course, Tuesday will be the match preview for the Dortmund game. Wednesday, the watch along. So many things coming up on the channel. Of course, keep your eyes open for daily news shows as well. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight. Thank you to everybody for your new memberships and super chats. Thank you. Yes, Alex?
I am looking at doing a Dortmund preview on the Patreon tomorrow as well. So a little bit earlier for the patrons, just because I think me and Billy have done a little bit more research on this game, because it's a bigger one. So,
well, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So we may have a little bit of extra spice for you. But thank you very much for watching tonight. We'll see you back on YouTube at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Alex and Billy. But as usual, the main thanks goes to you guys out there. Thank you so much for all your support and spending a bit of your Sunday evening with us. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of what it is left of Sunday evening, and have a great start of the week. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check on some green.